So a lot of you guys have wanted me to talk about the Battle of Bastards, and I never did it, because I'm an idiot. I probably should have talked about this when it was actually relevant, but, whatever. Finally, after so many of you guys asked me, here it is. The shield wall, the Bolton shield wall. What do I think about it? Does it make sense? Would it work? Well, to figure that out, let's first look at how the wall is constructed. First off, the wall is about 4 people thick. It's made up out of 2 layers of shields and 2 layers of pikes. Simple enough. They are using Pavis shields, which is a special type of shield that you set on the ground. And the people using the shields are not the same as the people using the pikes. Now this is important later. Also, it's safe to assume that they would all have a sword or an axe or something as a secondary weapon. And a large portion of the shield wall is made up out of a giant pile of bodies. Now, would this formation work? No. Well, at least not in this context. Because there's still quite a large number of wildlings left. Because of this, the shield wall has to be very, very long. And this spreads the men really, really thin. To me, it looks like the wildlings would simply be able to out-push the shield wall. Simply because the shield wall is only 4 to 5 people thick. By sheer force, they would be able to break out and push free. Secondly, there's still the backup force that is climbing over the pile of bodies to attack the wildlings. Now this is odd. I mean, fighting on top of dead bodies is not particularly comfortable. Why don't they just wait? Wait for any wildlings to try and climb over the wall of bodies and kill them when they're halfway. I mean, when you're climbing over the pile of bodies yourself, you lose any advantage that you possibly had. You're sacrificing your men for no reason at all. So unless Ramsay is completely out of arrows, that doesn't make sense. I mean, it would make more sense to just start shooting arrows again. I mean, the wildlings wear practically no armor, and only very, very few of them have shields, so huge target right here. Just a few volleys would just completely slaughter them. Anyway, let's take a closer look at the formation. The biggest problem that I have here is that the pikes are very, very long. And because of this, they're quite far away from the shields. And also, the point isn't particularly impressive. I mean, it's a stabbing weapon, no slicing involved whatsoever. So because of this, you can quite easily grab it. Yes, the wildlings could just grab the pike, and then you wouldn't be able to use the pike anymore. Now you might be thinking, Jelly, if they do that, then the pike next to them is simply gonna get them. Well, no, because if they do that, then that pike has to move over quite a bit. Since, as you can see, there's quite a bit of room in between every pike. If somebody does that, then they'll create a weak spot. A place that's easy to attack. It would be way better if there were multiple rows of pikes, like you see in, for example, the Macedonian phalanx. If you would grab or pass around the first pike, you would be in range of the second pike. And after that, in range of the third, and so on and so on. But because there's so much room, grabbing the pike would still leave you out of range of the swords. Long story short, it's quite easy to move around the pikes. And once you're up against the shields, it's quite of an even fight. Both parties are gonna have to be stabbing around the shields. Nobody would have a clear advantage at that point. So if they would all attack at once, all in a group, it would just be an even fight. Pikes only really work if you have backup. They're very, very long. So you have a lot of exposed parts. You need other people to protect your exposed parts. And these people are in a formation, but they're still kind of on their own. I mean, just imagine this. 2 wildlings grabbing the pike and pulling. I mean, this guy would just fly forward. There's no one supporting him. There's nobody who could hurt the 2 wildlings that grab his pike. All he could do is let go of the pike. So, no, it doesn't really work. Now, I would also argue that Wun would probably be able to do more. I mean, I get that the pikes hurt him, but honestly, Wun is described to be 12 times stronger than humans are. Now, even including his size, that is incredibly strong. He would just be stomping around the battlefield like it was nothing. I mean, if he wanted to, he could just crush these people no problem at all. Anyway, what do I think would be the best course of action? Well, simply focus all of your men in one spot. If you look at here where Wun stands, the pikes are up, to protect, of course, against Wun. But this also makes their formation weak there. So if they would just all attack at that point, all start pushing and pushing, they would be easily capable of breaking through. I mean, it would turn into a clusterfuck, but the entirety of the fight has been a clusterfuck, so that honestly doesn't matter that much. Because of the amount of people, they would be easily able to break through, and when they do break through, they could easily surround this portion of people right here, because surrounding is very effective if you have an overwhelming force. So simply by sheer numbers, they would be able to take out a lot of enemies all at once. And I'd argue that the Boltons would probably have to drop their pikes as well. I mean, because getting a bunch of people with pikes in formation simply takes longer than it would take for a wildling to just run around without any control. So they would have to drop their pikes, draw their swords or axes or whatever, and it would just start bashing each other like they have been for the entirety of the fight. Now, would Jon Snow win this way? I don't know. I mean, again, because the Boltons still have backup standing behind the pile of bodies, but it would surely even the playfield. This formation would not be so much of a problem, but it sure as hell looks cool, and I'm glad that it happened. So if you like this video and want to get notifications, then be sure to click that bell. Now, if you're like Jelly, I don't see that bell, well, that's because you're not subscribed yet. So subscribe and click the bell. And while you're at it, click the like button as well. And thank you for joining my quest. And I hope you'll join me in the next one. Bye, guys.